notice that would allow me to at least go, ooh, do I want to pick up the reins on it or not? Right, static compactor, where are you? There we go. Decaliter John is full. Okay, looking good. Looking good. Right, we need to go and get spice, my friends. Because at the moment, that is the one thing holding me back on my Mark 6 Scout. There's my Mark 6 buggy. So, yeah, so we're going for a Mark 6 Scout. We've built the main chassis and a generator. Next up is to build the engine, because I like to build everything and I do the wings last. But you can see spice is what I'm short of. It'll be spice, then plastanium. And then everything else, like particle capacitors, we're good on. Cobalt paste, we're good on. Most of the components, anything components-wise, we'll need to get some more plasteel, but we can make that. But that will cost more spice, because that's one of the advanced components that to make it requires spice. And when I was treasure hunting, I barely found any. So, looks like it's a spice thing. Right, so let's go find some spice. Deep desert, here we come. Another buggy. There you go, into my Mark 6 Assault. How are we doing? Do we have fuel? We got plenty of fuel. That's looking good. And how are we looking? Right, wings. Yeah, okay. I don't repair anything until it gets below 50 as a minimum. There we go, here we go. You don't think they will move everything like your base storage? It could be cheating, so probably what you have on your person. I think they should move everything on your person and everything in your bank. Which would allow you to take, you know, if you've got a Mark 6 buggy, it would allow you to take your Mark 6 buggy, it would allow you to take your vehicle garage tool, which could have a Mark 6 Scout on it. And if you're in your Mark 6 Assault, you get that. So basically, you get everything there, plus extra bits of gear like cool still suit, that type of stuff. I think they should allow that. And I think that would be quite easy to do because you're just transferring it from one bank to another. Like, you wouldn't have to have your location or anything like that. It's just in your bank on one server to in your bank on another. I could see them doing that on the public servers. I'm just not convinced they'll allow you to move your account from a private server to a public server. But fortunately, I do have two other... I've got a level 150 character and a level 170 character that I've also done. That was done on a public server. So I do have them as backups, but both of those servers I was on were like gank heaven. Like, you were getting ganked in Hagar Basin on the PvP Rex, which kind of sucked. Like, they were camping them out, man. That's proper noob camping, that was, because they were camping out people that were, like, fresh into the game. I don't like that. I don't have a problem with PvP in general. I don't like to do it personally. I'm a PvEer. Like, if I want to play PvP games, I'll go play World of Tanks or Battlefield or something. But I get that's what's in this game, and that's fine. Don't have a problem with it. But some of the ganking, in particular noobs, is... I find it a terrible thing. You know, 5 or 6 players with max level gear taking out somebody that's been in the game 10 hours. I think that's terrible, man. And with all the PvP, PvE drama in this game, I do kind of wonder if Funcom should have gone down the PvE, PvP server route. Like, if you want a PvP, go in a PvP server, then at least you get like-minded individuals together. And then on the PvE, you get like-minded individuals together, and they could have then tailored the content for each, because I think the danger is I'm just not sure how they're going to be able to balance giving PvEers what they're looking for in a game and giving the PvPers what they want in the game. And by doing a PvE and PvP server and a rule sets and content, I think allows them to cater to the bases properly, or they've got to completely go one way or another on the game, which they clearly don't want to do. They should have done different worlds for There you go. We're on the same wavelength, Jared, man. I tell you, we're on the same wavelength. I'm of that mindset, you know. I kind of feel like they're trying to cater to everybody, and I think that's pretty hard. I just don't see that it's going to be very easy to make both sides happy. You know, and you could also tailor the content, like, as well, because you can have different rule sets. Like, you could still... I would be more... if the whole Deep Desert was PvE, let's say, it could still reset once a week. But I'd be more inclined to build some sort of temporary base out here and stuff like that. You could do world events like dropping ships where you have to fight house troops. Or yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you can tailor the content for the audience. And it also means that you can tailor, like on the PvP server, you can tailor the weapon damage and stuff slightly differently and things as well. Guild Wars 2, like the world bosses and stuff and meta events. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. You could do cool stuff like that on the PvE side, but I think if you're going to split it, you got to give the PvPers something as well. But there's things I think you could give them that you don't want to give PvEers because it would make them too powerful or stuff like that. But you could, I just wonder if they can truly make everybody happy by keeping them all in the same server. I think the problem they've got now is they would kind of have to give everybody... Well, actually, no. What you could do is your idea. Rather than make it a dedicated PvP, PvE server, you could make a PvP Deep Desert and a PvE Deep Desert, I guess. And then you're not locking people into one or the other. Like, if I'm a PvEer and I decide, you know what? I now want to give PvP a go. I could still do it by going to the PvP Deep Desert, and if you're a PvPer and you like bored of PvP for a time being, or you need to get some gear back or something, you can go play in the PvE area. So I think your idea maybe is a bit better, is to have 2 separate instances. Because you've kind of got that now, right? You've kind of got like Deep Desert PvE and Deep Desert PvP. It's in the same instance, but it's like separated. It's like two separate areas. So they're already down that pathway, right? And you mentioning Guild Wars 2, man. I max leveled a Guild Wars 2 character when the max level I think was like 70 or something. I really feel like I didn't delve into that game enough. Like, I really want to go back and do some playthroughs of the different classes on Guild Wars 2. So many things I want to do, so little time. If only this was my full-time job. Keep dreaming. You've got 12 max level characters in Guild Wars 2. Holy crap. Jeez. I enjoyed my time in Guild Wars 2, but it was just at a very transitional time, and I just, like, I max leveled a character, and I just felt like I barely explored the world. I hadn't done any of the... I'd done a few of the basic jumping puzzles and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, I feel like I missed out quite a bit. And I'd like to... I'd like to do more on it. The same as... like, I'm... Maybe... Because I'm doing, like, off-stream, I'm doing, like, a replay through of... Star Wars The Old Republic, like just the story, so like doing Imperial Sniper and just going through to the end of the class stories as opposed to anything else. But maybe I should do some Guild Wars 2 as well, that in amongst a Starfield playthrough. Alright, that one's still spewing cloud, so I'm just gonna take this one. I think this should be probably good enough for me. Hate it when it's on a slope, but there you go. Beggars can't be choosers. Right. Spice is nice. Okay. Let's get in the shade. What's your favourite class in Guild Wars 2? You played Final Fantasy Online for 5 years, dropped it. There's no content for casuals. Don't see the point in paying a sub. Well, there is that. I never played Final Fantasy. So my first MMO was EVE Online, and I played EVE Online pretty much like from release, like 2003, and I really enjoyed early EVE Online. I thought it was great. I played EVE Online like hardcore, like really, really crazy, like setting alarms to wake up at certain times of the day and at night and all this sort of stuff. And then the the alliance I was in, Band of Brothers, was eventually taken down due to what I felt was exploitative in-game mechanics, and I quit at that point. But I really enjoyed EVE Online. But I went from EVE Online, I went to World of Warcraft. So I started in World of Warcraft at the end of vanilla, like just before Burning Crusade came out. And I mained a prot warrior for quite some time, and then a Death Knight, and then a Holy Priest because of guild needs. And then when my original guild fell apart, that's when I really fell into what I became to really love, which is ranged DPS. And I mained a Warlock for the remainder of my time in World of Warcraft. And those are the only 2 MMOs I've ever really, I can say I've really gone hardcore in. Like, I dabbled in Star Wars The Old Republic because I love Star Wars, but I never really got the MMO vibe out of Star Wars. It kind of felt more like a solo/group PvE thing, role-playing game. And I say Guild Wars 2 is just kind of the wrong time. Guild Wars 2, you mained a Necromancer and a Mechanist. I really like the Necromancer too. In fact, the character that I max leveled was a Necromancer. The character I wish I'd had the chance to max level was a Ranger. I really wanted to complete a full playthrough, as in at least max level and do most of the story and exploration with a Norn Ranger. Really like the idea of that. Maybe once I've finished everything I want to do in Dune and I'm waiting for new content, and I also complete what I want to do in the current Path of Exile 2 season. Maybe I'll do some Guild Wars and see if I can do just some playthroughs of the different classes. Like, I'm not planning on playing it like hardcore or getting to the end game or anything, but at least exploring as like nice content for the channel. Because I'm very much a variety streamer. I don't play one game like hardcore. But also as a variety streamer, I don't just jump to new games. Like, I only play games that I actually enjoy playing. And because I do this as a hobby, my channel's not monetized, so I'm not tied to having to go for the latest and greatest thing. I also don't do any sponsored content at all. So it gives me a lot more freedom to kind of do what I want to do. Like, I don't see the point in monetizing a channel when I'm doing it as a hobby. Like, if it was my living, that's different. If I have to pay my bills through my content, that's completely different. But when I'm doing it just as a hobby, for me, like, why would I want any of my audience? And because I stream on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, I do a lot of offline content for my YouTube channel. Because my live streams, I can't always keep to a really good schedule because of my work. Like, sometimes I have to go away for a week or two here and there, which does impact the live stream. But between the two, why would I want any of the audience, either on YouTube or on Twitch, to watch ads for the sake of, you know, a few bucks to buy a coffee? It doesn't make sense. So that's why there's no ads on my Twitch, there's no ads on my YouTube. It's just come, enjoy the content, talk about video games, because that's what I love doing. Some streamers force you to sub to even use a chat. No, I know that. Even if I was fully monetized, I wouldn't do that at all. Like, I wouldn't even have followers only chat unless it became like an issue of abuse or something, some issue like that, or griefers or whatever. But like, I get people using ads and sponsored content. You have to. If it's your living, that's your living. That's how you pay your mortgage. But for me, I don't want to have people have to deal with that when I'm not using it to pay my bills and stuff. I think it's, like I say, I do it as a hobby because I love video games. You know, I've been playing video games since the mid-80s. Yes, that's how old I am. Like, my first computer, I think I had when I was like 6 or something. And that was a ZX Spectrum. And it started with a tape, literally a cassette tape. And then I managed to get the plug-in thing that allowed me to go to a floppy disk. I remember playing a really cool game, Skate or Die. That was pretty cool. And then Winter Olympics with the joystick. And it's where I got my first taste of Gauntlet. And Gauntlet was cool. I really enjoyed playing Gauntlet. I used to play that with my sister. And that's when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, first came out as well on the ZX Spectrum. But then playing games on like Atari and stuff like that, like Turrican, Super Turrican, back in the day. So I love video games. So for me, any chance to just talk about video games and play video games is cool. But I think the important thing on any like content is I see so many content creators making content for stuff that they don't enjoy anymore. You know? It's like they're playing a game because they have to, or like that's the only game they play, so it's their revenue. Like World of Tanks for me is classic of that. I see a whole bunch of World of Tanks streamers who spend their whole time raging at the game, but they can't stop it because their income depends on it. And that must be really hard. And you do notice it in the content. Like, you don't get the same vibe of the content because the person's not enjoying what they're selling. Paul on YouTube, yours was the first BBC programmable computer. That's definitely going back a bit, Paul. Holy moly. Those were the days, right? How things... Who'd have thought in literally, like, 40 years, how things would have changed? You know? You couldn't have imagined today playing a game like Dune. Your first touch in the games was in the 90s. Bomberman, man, Bomberman's a legend, right? I mean, to the point where I even... my daughter has a Switch. I even had to get Bomberman on the Switch just because of how cool that game was. Your first PC game was the very first Tomb Raider. Also the 80s. Wow, I do like the 80s. I'm not going to lie. Particularly the 80s rock and metal scene. But yeah, I mean, it's just classic fun games, right? I love all of that stuff. Had so much fun. Like, time in the army when I had like Nintendo 64 and just 4 people all playing GoldenEye on the base. That was very cool. But yeah, Bomberman is the my first online PC game where I actually played online was Command and Conquer Red Alert 2. And it was where we were using a mod called Eagle Red. And that was my first proper time of actually doing like online, and you would do PvP on that, on like these multiplayer maps. And then after that was Counter-Strike. Like when Counter-Strike was a mod, that was like the first of the first-person shooter online things I did, when I had the old dial-up modem, and you measured your ping in many digits as opposed to single digits. Living in South Africa, you had a computer before TV came out. I guess that does kind of make sense when you think about it. I was never that big into TV, I must admit. Like, when I was a kid, I used to read quite a lot of books. I used to really enjoy reading books. So I'd watch my, like, you know, Saturday morning cartoons and stuff. Like, I used to enjoy G.I. Joe and He-Man, Mask, Brave Star, like all of those sort of things. Ninja Turtles was kind of the end of it because it came quite late. Transformers, of course, and things like that. But outside of like my Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, I was never that big into TV. I liked to read books, but then computers came along, and man, I was hooked on video games. What the hell is going on? What the fuck? That's almost on me. Shit me. You cocksucker. What a weasel. He's after me. He's Dave, the worm, is being really mean today. Rude. Do you not know that all I want to do is get some of your little purple sand? At the end of the day, this is Dave the worm's poop, right? So, you know, he shouldn't be mad. In South Africa, it was censorship, so there was no TV allowed. Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little bit different, right? As I said, my aunt used to live in Cape Town and she was living there since when did she go out? She must have gone out in the 60s. So, yeah, she would have been living out in South Africa from the 60s onwards. What is it with Dave? Dude. See, this is the point, like I could say, I was talking about yesterday about the fact that you can do the whole solo carrier thing. I'm stuck. Oh my god, literally. They need to do something about these blades. They don't clip into walls. Why should they clip into me? Like the ball ache of doing carrier sandcrawler solo and the risks associated with it, for me, just don't make sense. Particularly the amount of resources you have to put into a carrier. And I've seen so many videos of people losing both carrier and crawler that I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do that. You know, and all it takes is a bit of jank, and you can forget. You can forget it. Like, you know, you get a little bit of jank and then you lose it all. What I want them to do is I want them to have like an ISO container, like a giant like metal container box thing that you pick up in your carrier, so it's underslung, that you can then drop off. Like, you could drop it off on the edge of like a spice area, and you could then like fill that up, and it could take way more than